My name is Jurrit Rijpma. I'm a professor of European law, and I will try in the next 10 to 15 minutes to explain you why the LLM in European law would be an excellent choice for you to study. The first reason is that our program will give you a profound knowledge of European law, and that includes both EU law and the laws of the European Convention on Human Rights. We have a very personalized program in the sense that you can easily choose your focus within our program. We will provide you with legal, academic, and practical skills, and we do so in small group teaching, problem-based with also blended learning. We have a very international student body and staff, and importantly, however, for the Dutch students is that our program will give you what is called civil effect after completing successfully the course, and if you have done an LLB in law. Leiden, of course, is a very special place. Both the city, it's beautiful, but also the university, the eldest one of the Netherlands. And you can join our program in September and February. Now, why European law? Whether you're in favor or against, European law is important. It's a commonplace to say that 80% of all legislation in the member states has its origin in Brussels. And whilst that number is a little bit exaggerated, it is very hard to find any area of law that is not affected in one way or the other by what is decided indeed in Brussels. Think of migration law, think about the Eurozone, the internal market, fundamental rights law, you name it, there is a European angle to it. And of course, Europe has passed through numerous crises over the past decade. Think about the migration crisis, the Euro crisis, the invasion of Ukraine, the Brexit. These are all topics, not to mention also Corona, these are all topics that we will be discussing because they are in a large way dealt with at the European level, and Europe is largely a community of law, so European law is very important there. Now, we have a very international staff. These are my dear colleagues, and if I look at them, I see already 10 nationalities on this page alone. And the same holds true for our students. This year, we have about 70 students, not all of them are on the picture, but also there, we have about 21 nationalities, but however, also a strong contingent of Dutch students this year, about 25. Now, what does the program look like? Because that's, of course, you want to know, what are we going to study? In the first semester, we start with what we call a backbone course, one of two backbone courses. One in the first semester, that is the Institutional Law and General Principles course. It's a bit the constitutional foundations of the European Union. And there is what we call an academic writing course. It has a very Leiden name, the Privatissimum, where you learn to write a paper, where we accompany you through the process of writing a paper. And also, you will choose 2 out of 4 specialized courses. And there we offer courses in the external relations of the European Union, European fundamental rights law, the case law of the court in Strasbourg, the area of freedom, security, and justice, that's the cooperation in migration and criminal law, or for the Dutch students, an interaction between legal systems course taught in cooperation with public international law. In the second semester, there's the second backbone course where we look at substantive EU law, the law that deals with the internal market, so the free movement of goods, persons, capital, services, and competition law, basically protecting you as a consumer against unfair practices and deals struck between big companies. In the second semester, you will also learn to practice in a way as a lawyer. We have the so-called practicum, which takes the form of a moot court, and where you have an option to choose between a practicum on internal market or competition law, or even a combination of both. And this is also the semester in which you generally will start writing your thesis, which is worth 10 EC. Now, let me highlight a few things. I told you already the first course, EU Institutional Law and General Principles. And this is one where we have tried to really teach in an innovative way. We make you work in small groups, and we have so-called flip the classroom. It sounds a bit scary maybe, but this is where you start exploring issues of EU law before discussing them with your lecturers and professors. I already mentioned also the skills courses, the Privatissimum and the Practicum. As said in the Privatissimum, we will guide you through and teach you how to do academic research, establish a research question, and write a paper. In the Practicum, we will have you plead fictional cases in front of your peers, and you will receive feedback from the teaching staff. There's also a lot of extracurricular activities that make this program very special, I think. We always open the year with an opening lecture, and we had quite a few great European speakers. This year, the master was opened by Martijn Snoep, the chairman of the Dutch Competition Authority. But we also, for instance, have had Judge Sacha Pergal from the Court of Justice and Catherine de Bolle, the executive director of Europol. And the Europa Institute also organizes a yearly Europa lecture in which the great Europeans come to discuss some of the big challenges of our times. And there we've had people such as Margarethe Vestager, when she was the Commissioner of Competition Law, Herman van Rompuy, the President of the European Council. So these are very high-level lectures which are also open to our students. We also participate regularly in moot courts. So these are international pleading competitions, a bit like the Practicum, but then against teams from other countries. And we've been very successful, as you can see, holding up the beaker from the European Law Moot Court competition. But there's many. And we organize a yearly study trip. We call it the Rio trip. It's not going to Rio, it's called Rio because it was initially started in the framework of a Dutch course, Recht Internationale Organisaties, the law of international organizations. And what do? You visit the 3 centers of European law, Strasbourg, Luxembourg, and Brussels. And you see here, this is always a lot of fun. And where does this master bring you then? After you have finished all your courses, you've written the thesis, well, we see our alumni in any sector of European law. We see them in private practice. Many of them pursue a career as a lawyer in one of the bigger law firms, mostly in Brussels, Amsterdam, but also London and Luxembourg. Private business, think of lobbying firms, consultancy, international organizations. The Council of Europe, of course, very important because we also give you this firm background in European human rights and the ECHR. Public service. Many people end up working for the EU institutions, but also national institutions, national government, at every level of government. National, provincial, local. Some people have ended up in the diplomatic service, both national or EU. Some have ended up in the judiciary. So there's many options. And I'd like to say, last but not least, there's also people that that went into academia, think tanks, media. So I would say the sky is the limit. And that would be my elevator pitch. The LL.M European Law, it's a demanding program, but it will provide you with excellent training, as well as the skills, the knowledge, and the Leiden network that will allow you for a very successful European career. If you want more information, these are some links to the websites. If you have questions, you can send us an email. And with that, I would like to say we hope to welcome you in Leiden soon. Thank you.